This podcast is a part of the PodMania podcasting network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling.
Howdy diddly, neighborinos. Welcome to the... I haven't done this in a while, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Welcome to the Purespective podcast. That's what we're calling it, right?
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Rob. Are
Hello.
you regretting letting me post already?
There's a little part of me that's cringing at the moment, yes.
But the only thing I host on my own is quite heavily scripted, Robert.
Oh, you have a YouTube channel, don't you? Of course.
Yeah, right, you've been plugging your fucking little blog more than you've been plugging my YouTube channel, so... So you start with, are you self-promoting? But my YouTube channel could actually be helpful, actually, because there's a Ring of Honor video on there, and I'm planning one more in the future.
And what is that one in the future, Chris?
I mean, it hasn't even started pre-production. I'm not letting it out of the bag yet. So we're doing a Ring of Honor podcast, Robert. I finally got you to watch the Best American Wrestling Company.
Well, being perfectly honest, I used to watch Ring of Honor quite religiously. But
it's not like it's a massive commitment. It's like 1 hour a week and then a 3-hour pay-per-view every 2 months.
Well, yeah, exactly. I used to watch it. It was probably back in 2017. Well, let's put it this way: Josh Woods was the top prospect last time I watched.
So last time you'd have watched, who was champion?
Jay Lethal, I think, was at the start of his really long reign with the championship.
Okay, that's like 2015 then.
To be honest, it might have been 2015, actually, thinking about it. No, it was later than that, so it might not have been Jay Lethal. Run. Yes, it was his second run with the title.
Was it with a really, pretty belt, not like the cookie one? Like the belt we have right now?
Yes, yeah, it was.
Okay, then that was 2018. That's when Ring of Honor used to come to Edinburgh. It was great, and then people stopped coming because the first few shows, they had a load of New Japan talent. So the first show we had literally all of LIJ, and you had these Brett Rez dream matches. You had Hiromu Takahashi taking on Mark Haskins.
That sounds amazing, to be fair.
And then let me put it in the mid card was Evil versus Bully Ray, and Naito, Sanada, and Bushi versus Mystico, Kushida, and Titan.
How weird that that's on a Ring of Honor show.
It is. Well, it technically is Ring of Honor / New Japan / CMLL. But yeah, I feel sorry for Mystico because it's not like the Mystico we're all thinking of. It's a different Mystico. but he just got you a shite Sin Cara chance.
You're just a shite Sin Cara.
Yeah, he was meant to be fucking face coming in, and then
the Edinburgh crowd turned him heel.
Yeah, he was flipping everyone off by the end of it. So anyway, welcome to the Purespective podcast. Me and Rob need more things to do, so we're going to talk about Ring of Honor since I'm watching it anyway, and he needs to watch some more wrestling because there's more than just Stardom. Robert, you know that, right? You fucking
apparently so.
No, but there's more than Stardom. He refuses to watch DDT, which is unfortunate for everyone involved. But, is it unfortunate? Because I've seen what he rates. Never mind. So we're talking about Ring of Honor. And so I thought it'd be good to start with to take you through what's going on in Ring of Honor right now. So, first of all, what do you know about Ring of Honor right now?
So, I watched, like I say, I stopped watching, basically the Bullet Club were doing my head in. And everything was centered around the Bullet Club. It felt like every single main event match was the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll and or Cody. So it was deemed me added, so I stopped watching then. And I kept sort of in touch with the product. I knew little bits, who were champions and things like that. And then I watched, obviously, the episode of Ring of Honor TV that we're going to review today. and I watched a little bit of the 19th anniversary show. I watched a couple of matches from that. I watched the Draper and Lethal match. Not Lethal. Draper and Gresham match, which was tremendous. I watched a little bit of the Roosh Lethal match, and I watched the opener. And it's a very different product from the product that I stopped watching in 2018. It's very, very weird. But aside from that...
It has an identity now. That's what it didn't have back in 2018, even 2019, and the beginning of 2020. It didn't really have an identity.
Well, that was something I was going to bring up with you, actually. Like, even from the little bit... You've always said that basically Ring of Honor does the whole ranking system in the way that AEW professes that it does.
Yeah, and it's
the
sports
ranking system. Exactly.
And like all the booking, for the most part, makes sense. There's been some weird things, like when Dragon Lee couldn't make it to the anniversary show. Instead of stripping him, they just had
Kenny King.
Kenny King step in and defend it as a stand-in, which made no sense. It would have made a lot more sense to just strip Lee and then have the top two, which I believe at the time would have been Tracy Williams and maybe Kenny King. I don't know. Kenny King's was in the world title. I can't remember, but it would have made more sense to do that than what we did. But yeah, Ring of Honor now is more. It's weird because New Japan fans will tell you that New Japan does sports-based booking, and you look at it for 2 minutes, and it's like fuck. I barely watch sports, and I can tell this isn't sports-based. Like the one thing New Japan does that's sports-based all year is their tournaments, because that's like purely result-based. Other than that, it's all like standard wrestling. Whereas Ring of Honor, if they want things to happen, they have to book people to be in that position. So, for example, right now, they seem to be building towards Rocky Romero versus Jonathan Gresham at 19th anniversary, but they're also building for Fred Yehi by the looks of it, to have a TV match to fill in Gresham's defenses between anniversary and Best in the World. So they have to book them to win. They have to actually have them, and to be in a specific category, you have to declare for that title. So you can only really be in for one championship at a time. So you can be in for one tag title and one pure title, one single title rather, except for 6-mans, because no one fucking cares.
Yeah, bless the 6-man title. A title that they are introducing to AEW apparently in the near future.
Yeah, because I can't. I'm trying to think of a 6-man belt that's booked well. DDT, maybe.
I was just going to say
really
probably well. DDTs.
But it's not booked well. It just has good matches for it. Like it's more kind of just we need to fit these guys on the card and we'll make them go for the 6-mans. Tell you what though, I never thought I'd see anything booked worse than the Never 6-mans, but All Japan 6-mans. Oh my god. Oh my god. I forgot they existed.
Those belts are ugly.
Oh, they're fucking ugly. That's one thing I'll say about Ring of Honor's belts. They all either look good or fill the purpose. Like the world title, TV title, and tag titles are just straight up gorgeous.
The redesigns, I must admit, it's not often that redesigns
are
better. But
in the cases of these redesigns, we didn't have good looking belts to begin with.
The main title, the actual world title, wasn't too bad.
No, out of all of them, I preferred the old TV belt to the old world title. The old world title always looked crushed to me. It always looked like we didn't have enough space for what we wanted to do.
Is the old TV title was the weird sort of
long one? Yeah, it looked
kind
of old school.
It did look very NWA.
The old 6-mans looked a lot like the current belt, but then we changed the old 6-mans, but then we changed everything else. So the old 6-mans look like old Ring of Honor. It's weird. And then the pure title just looks minimalist, but that's kind of the point.
Well, that's something that I was also going to talk about, to be perfectly honest. Like, when I was watching Ring of Honor, the pure wasn't a thing. Because they'd unified it and sort of done away with it, which was a massive shame. And I hadn't actually seen any pure matches up until me and you on our other podcast watched Daniel Bryan and Nigel McGuinness. And that match is, I don't need to say to anyone who will listen to this podcast just how fucking good that match is. But the the concept of Pure was something that I was a little bit skeptical of, and only because I've seen
sounds limiting.
It's a rule set. I've seen what a rule set like that can do, and I know it's not the exact same thing, but you look at the Grand Championship in Impact Wrestling, for example, that was dog shit.
Yeah, but I think what limits that is the round system.
Yeah.
From the sounds of it, NXT UK do something like that with the Heritage Cup. I don't watch NXT UK; it's shit and it's full of abusers. But apparently that's fairly decent. But I think with round system, it's how you pace it. So like, if you grew up on like World of Sports matches, then you might know how to pace a Pure, how to pace something like that. But like, it just becomes a regular match, but everyone gets pulled aside every 5 minutes. And it's weird. We'll get into more what Pure Rules is when we get into the main event of the show today. But when it comes to the current story, it's weirdly faction based.
That's something I was going to say. There's so many factions that have just seemingly cropped up.
Not to the point of New Japan. It's not like everyone's sorted into a neat little faction, everyone's neatly paired off. Like, for example, going into 19th anniversary, for the most part, LFI, which is like Rush's stable, was taking on the Foundation, with the exception of Gresham, because no one in LFI declared for the Pure Division. So they didn't just shoehorn someone into the Pure Division to make that work. They just had Gresham face the number one guy, who was Draper.
I must admit, going back to that match, what a fucking performance from both men.
Yeah. Before we go into that, let's talk about that match, because it's one of my favorite matches of the year. It's definitely in my top 10. And it's probably I'm trying to think of if there's an empty arena match of the COVID era that I like better. Maybe Suzuki versus Nagata, but it's in that tier for me. It's incredible, and like, it's one of the most creative endings we've had. They use the rule set absolutely perfectly. Gresham has worked with people well below his pay grade and elevated them. Like, he made Flip Gordon a pure wrestling threat. Flip fucking Gordon. That man doesn't have two brain cells to rub together.
What was it? It was David Finlay Jr., wasn't it, who put out that fantastic tweet? It was, "You're the stupidest person I follow on Twitter, and I follow Ospreay."
Ospreay, yeah.
David Finlay wins Twitter.
Also, Gresham went up against Joe Keys, who is a Ring of Honor Dojo graduate, to be fair, as is Dak Draper, and he's done well against both of them. I'm trying to think who his other defenses were, but my point is, he's done really well. He did amazingly during the Pure Tournament as well. His stuff with his finals match against Tracy Williams and his first round match against Fred Yehai, especially. But yeah, in terms of current factions, just to go through them very quickly, there is LFI, or the faction Ingobernable. I've been saying Ingobernable for years, and yet I still can't say it properly. Where we have Roosh, Dragon Lee, La Bestia Del Ring, Amy Rose, and Kenny King. And they're kind of just rudos. They just break the rules at any chance. That's why none of them are in the Pure Division, because they get chucked out immediately.
Their matches had lost 38 seconds.
No, but I think they disrespect the code of honor and the match will be thrown out. But yeah, because nearly every match they do has interference. Like, the one Pure, like, Kenny King has a decent record in Pure rules, but he's not declared for Pure rules because he'd be thrown out. You have Roosh, of course, who's the champion, and then if we just do it by champions, then we have the Foundation, and their whole goal is to get rid of people like LFI. They want to completely purify Ring of Honor, have it be a place basically just meritocracy, cream rises to the top, no cheating, none of that. Which is why so many of them were in the Pure Division at some point. Like, Rhett Titus is number 2 seed in the Pure Division. Also, at some point, you had Lethal and Tracy Williams in the Pure Division before we realized, hey, we should probably try and go after other belts. So Williams was in the TV division, Lethal was in the world. And one thing we should mention is that the reason for that is because LFI cheats at every opportunity. The last 3 world title matches that Roosh has been with Brody King, Jay Lethal, and Shane Taylor, all of which are ahead of the other factions, and he's fucked every single one of them over. To the point where Brody King made his faction, Violence Unlimited, to combat that. And Brody King's faction is Violence Unlimited, somewhere in the middle. It is Tony Deppen, Chris Dickinson, Homicide, fucking exciting.
Homicide?
Brody King. Homicide.
Bloody hell.
And they are and they're sort of in the middle. Like, they're not going to outwardly cheat. They still want to win it on their own merit, but also they don't really care about rule bending.
Mm.
They're sort of your tweeners, and like the cool tweeners. It's so weird calling Tony Deppen cool.
The neutral chaos.
Yeah, kind of. And then you have Shane Taylor Promotions, which is kind of the same thing, except bigger. And if I had to guess, it's Shane Taylor. Yeah, if I had to guess the world title match at Best in the World, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Shane Taylor, because he got fucked over hard in his world title match on TV. Like, Kenny King assaulted him with a chair.
So you think that might be the main event of Best in the World?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I thought it was going to be a fatal 4-way, but it doesn't look like it's going to go that way. My one thing, there's also other tag teams. Obviously, there's like the OGK, which is the Kingdom. You have SOS, Shane Taylor Promotion. You have you did have Mexa Squad. They've broken up. We'll get into that when we got onto TV.
Right. I am going to apologise now, because the amount of fucking times that I have called them Mexicals is unreal. So I am going to put a little disclaimer here and say, if I accidentally say Mexicals, whilst especially talking about this first match, then I apologise. You know I mean Mexa Squad.
Okay. Any other story we're just gonna, from now on, we're just gonna tackle as we get to it. But in terms of who you've seen in your limited experience, who are you most excited to see more of? Like, have you seen much Tony Deppen?
I've seen no Tony Deppen, actually.
You've seen no Tony Deppen. He is fantastic. He's doing the whole thing of an indie star is holding your belt, Ring of Honor.
He's you raved about one of the matches he had over WrestleMania week.
Yeah, with Daniel Garcia in ICW, right. No Holds Barred, which is it did an amazing job of making me forget there were chains for ropes until the end of the match. It was great.
Yeah.
Because Deppen, he's just sort of like, he's almost like a stereotypical Ring of Honor guy. Like, he's very dweeby looking. Like, think 2007 era, like 2009 era Daniel Bryan, like when he's in NXT. That's right. Kind of his look.
Yeah.
And in terms of who he has facing up, he has basically someone from every faction. Actually, we'll go into where we think they're going to go after the TV. That might be a better idea. Okay. So before we jump into TV, I just want to mention the 2 other shows. So Ring of Honor has 3 weekly shows, 2 of which are on YouTube. AEW fans are probably shitting themselves right now. It's like, oh no, it's going to be 3 hours just to watch fucking Take Conti or whatever. No, each of their non-Ring of Honor TV weekly shows are 1 match, and the rest of it is backstage interviews. So if you just want to watch that one match is there. So this week on Ring of Honor Week by Week, we had Fred Yehi versus Cheeseburger in a Pure Rules match.
Right, and how was that?
It was fine. Cheeseburger's been doing surprisingly fine in Pure Rules. Like, he's a smart wrestler. He has a lot of ideas, but he's not athletic. Like, I'm pretty sure if like me or you touched him, he'd snap in half.
He's a very skinny boy.
He's very skinny. Like, he's a surprisingly clever wrestler for who he is. Like, he's very clearly, like, where does this sound? He's very clearly a student of the game.
He reminds me very much of, he wrestles very similarly, should I say, to a Rocky Romero. That sort of style.
Yeah, not to the level of Rocky.
Oh no, Lord no, but that sort of style. Whereas Rocky Romero has not necessarily the ability, because I don't want to, in any way say that Cheeseburger's not a great wrestler, because he is. But Rocky Romero comes up with these really cool ideas and pulls them off. Executes them really, really well. Whereas you get the impression that Cheeseburger, like you say, is that student of the game, but doesn't quite pull it off to the same extent.
Yeah. Also, Fred Yehi is a fucking beast. The sooner you see Fred Yehi, the better. He's incredible. He's so strong. Like, incredibly strong. If you like Dak Draper, go back and watch Yehi versus Draper from TV. Because that was one of the better Pure Rules matches of this year. And then, so week by week is just a match and then a bunch of backstage interviews. That's where a lot of the women's stories were happening before the women's show came along. What I will say about week by week is that for next wee while, they're going to be hosting qualification matches for Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah, they're going to be alternating between Ring of Honor TV and Ring of Honor week by week, aren't they?
Yeah, which is good because they don't have enough airtime to put some of them in. And quite frankly, some of them just aren't TV worthy.
No, there are some interesting matchups.
Yeah, we'll get into the Survival of the Fittest brackets when we get onto TV. But yeah, there's some fucking bangers on there, but also some where it's like, yeah, you very clearly had to fill out space here. But yeah, sooner you see Yehi, the better, because you're going to love him. He's a fucking powerhouse. Like, honestly, if you just Google Fred Yehi right now, you'll see why I think you'll love him.
Do you actually want me to? Okay. I didn't think you actually wanted me to do it now.
Oh, you can do it now. It wouldn't be that much of an effort for you. I put in Survival of the Fittest and suddenly it's showing me a fucking catchphrase from some old guy. No, I wouldn't Ring of Honor. I don't want fucking...
How do you spell Fred Yehi?
Fred.
Yeah, I got that, mate. But Fred West's come up. And I assume it's not him.
Yehi.
I got him. Oh, Jesus, he is a beast.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my. Okay, so, and then you have Women of Honor Wednesdays, which is just a women's match. They're trying to establish a women's division because they don't currently have one. The only women's match that's been on TV since Ring of Honor came back, unless I'm completely mistaken, was Quinn McKay versus Angelina Love, which is much better than it had any right to be. Like, you had Quinn McKay, who doesn't wrestle often. Like, she's very clearly, like, athletic and very clearly, like, built. I say that. I didn't realize how fucking built she was until she came out to the ring.
She's fucking stacked, isn't she?
I know. It's like, fucking, what you can hide behind a shirt. Jesus.
A shirt and a bow tie hid a lot.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow, you're actually, like, in better shape than half the wrestlers. And then you had Angelina Love, who is a 20-year veteran, has never had one great match.
Oh, that's mean.
Name one!
Oh, come on, you can't put me on the spot like that. I'm sure there was like, oh no, maybe not. Maybe there weren't good ones in TNA.
Yeah, I was about to say don't. But the TNA Knockouts division gets more praise than it really should.
She didn't.
Okay, I'm looking on her. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a great resume.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not gonna lie. The Quinn McKay match might be one of her better matches of her career.
Props to Quinn McKay.
So yeah, today, this week we had Willow taking on Alex Garcia, and I've seen Willow before, and Willow is grand. She's fine. Everyone, but the problem is, if you're recruiting women right now, there's not many veteran women on the indies left. You basically have Allysin Kay. That's basically what you have.
Mm.
And they're bringing Allysin Kay in, which is a great decision.
Absolutely.
But it's gonna be a while before this Women of Honor division gets going again, especially since they lost Kelly Klein, and I don't think she'll ever come back, and I don't blame her. From what I've read, it doesn't sound like, I think it's under new management now, but it doesn't sound like they treated her very well.
It was all very weird, that entire situation.
Yeah, I'm not going to delve into it now because, quite frankly, I haven't researched it enough to delve into it now.
No.
But yeah, I am excited going into more Women of Honor. I hope we can find more. I hope Maria Kanellis, because by the sounds of it, she's doing a lot of the backstage stuff. I hope she can do, because I'll say what about Maria Kanellis. She's not a great wrestler, but she's good at the presentation side of wrestling. So she can package some of these women to be stars. Like for example, AEW's ran on basically just Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker for a year.
Well, talking about Maria Kanellis Bennett, I can't remember who reported it, but someone did an interview with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman has got such a lot of time for the creative side of Maria. Apparently, Maria's got a really good eye for the business. So, sort of piggybacking on what you said.
Look at the way she pack it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if half the shit that Mike Bennett was doing but got him buzz was all Maria.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Because Mike Bennett on his own is fucking useless.
He's good in ring. He's just dull.
I mean, he doesn't botch, but also he doesn't do many moves. It's like if you can. It's like how my nephew doesn't say a lot of words, but the words he says, he does very well. It's that kind of thing.
Okay, so how old's your nephew? Just to reiterate.
2, and yet he has a better wrestling mind than Mike Bennett.
Okay.
I mean, am I wrong? Actually, you don't know if I'm wrong.
I don't know your nephew.
He's a very smart for us. Actually, no, he's a fucking idiot. What colour's that? Green. No, it's red. Green. No, stop saying green. He can't say frog. He says fuck. It's amazing.
Chris burying his nephew.
Look, I could bury my whole family on here. They wouldn't know. They don't listen to my shit. They don't subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anyway, Ring of Honor TV. First of all, what did you think of the match? Without going over what you thought of the matches individually, what did you think of the matches with no crowd? What do you think of their no crowd presentation?
With the situation that everyone's been dealt, I think they've probably put on the best product without a crowd. There was a hilarious moment where Rey Horus started banging the mat as though to elicit some manner of clapping from the crowd, and then seemed to remember, oh shit, there is no crowd, which I thought was quite entertaining.
That's instinctual, especially in Mexico. You see they bounce around clapping. So,
but yeah, ultimately, I think the presentation's really, really good. I'm not a massive fan. I mean, no one is, let's be perfectly honest. No one's going, do you know what? I think we should keep fans away from wrestling. Although, some of the chants, maybe it'd be great. But all in all, I think they've done a really, really good job. And the whole repackaging of Ring of Honor to give it its own identity has really, really helped.
Even small things like taking away the black ring mat. It's weird because I see a lot of people go, Ring of Honor wasted their chance with Kenny Omega, Cody, and the Bucks. It's first of all, Kenny Omega was never signed to Ring of Honor. Second of all, Cody very clearly used Ring of Honor as a platform. Transparently, he used Ring of Honor as a platform to keep buzz while he was building AEW.
It's not just that. The problem was Ring of Honor centered absolutely fucking everything around the Bullet Club. Talk about putting all of your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, it wasn't their best move. And problem is, then when we realized they were going to be leaving soon, we started building new stars. But the problem is, all those stars, no one was catching on because no one was watching Ring of Honor.
Well, that was a massive issue, and I think as well, when it was just another wrestling promotion, you'd already got WWE, you'd already got Impact, you'd already got all these, you got half the indies, you got New Japan, you got all this stuff that you'd rather watch instead of Ring of Honor, because, if it's just another American wrestling show, you're going to go to something else. But having now repackaged itself and, bought in this sports style ranking system, having bought back the pure division, it's got its own niche.
What I like about the sports style is even the graphics.
I love the graphics. I love the graphics.
The 2-in-1 or whatever, they'd give their stats for the fighters. But it's funny because when we don't have much on the fighters, they sometimes whatever they can. PCL, they talked about his achievements in World War III on the graphics package, and then My favorite was Dak Draper has won 7 shirts in 3 matches.
Yeah, because like you look at, and obviously we'll go into these matches in a moment, but Flamita versus Rey Horus. Flamita came out. Demonic Flamita, I apologise.
Yeah,
brand new repackaging. But just the little things like he's 4-1 in his last 5 matches outside of Ring of Honor against Rey Horus. And just straight away that paints that picture of, Rey Horus, if you didn't already, Rey Horus being the underdog, which I thought, it's just a little simple thing. You look at what the WWE used that for, especially on SmackDown, and you got stuff like, is such and such his girlfriend? Well, what a waste of a graphic.
Imagine if he did that with everyone, like Jonathan Gresham comes out, is Jordan Grace's fiance.
Exactly. Dak Draper is with Quinn McKay. Fuck off, just tell me something interesting. But yeah, I thought that really built up that really helps to build up a story as well as, you get natural story from these rankings.
Yeah, so, Ring of Honor starts, as it does every week, with Quinn McKay running down the matches. She does it. The only week she didn't do it is where she had a match. I mean, had Ian Riccaboni fill in.
Right.
So the first thing she does is explain survival of the fittest. So that's where we're going to start.
Yeah. Survival
of the fittest. It's back, Robert.
It is back.
The most prestigious tournament, but no one cares about.
Well, apparently, wasn't it put to a vote on what they wanted to bring back and this one out?
Yeah, they have a Facebook group called Ring of Honor Choose Your Honor, I believe it's called. I should know, I'm in it. And yeah, you just they ask you questions and you vote sometimes.
Brilliant plug there from Chris O'Brien.
I mean, like, they're not paying me. Fuck them. I put those fuckers over enough. Anyway, so Survival of the Fittest. Basically, it's going to be an elimination match at Best in the World, and there are 6 slots. Therefore, 6 matches, all of which are taking place over the 2 shows, week by week, and Ring of Honor TV. So, other than Horus and Flamita, which we'll get into in a second, you have Isom versus Draper, both of which are very good young prospects. Like, they're both so good. In terms of Isom, he has the problem of he sometimes tries too much for his experience level.
Yeah.
If you get me?
No, so like, you sort of got that from the 4-way at 19th anniversary.
Yeah. He's very good. He had a really good match against Draper recently, and he also had a really good one against Rey Horus. How did he go against? Let's have a look. Why are we taking back onto Demonic Flamita? That's not who I asked for. Eli Isom. Matches. Okay, so he's also went up against LSG the other week, and that was the exact same thing, where he was just trying to run before he could walk. Bit of a shame. But still, he's a top prospect. I think if I was to guess, I think it would be Draper going through, unless they want to pitch an upset. Then you have Bandito versus Bateman, who just wrapped up his feud with Taven, kind of.
Sort of.
Kind of. So yeah, Bateman and Bandito. I hope Bandito goes through, not going to lie to you.
I imagine Bandito will go through just because I imagine they'll be doing stuff with him and Flamita.
Yeah, and a multi-man, you want luchas in there, because that's a big part of lucha, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, and as well, you've got little matchups in that 6-way as well.
Yeah, we have Jonathan versus Sledge, who we'll get onto later, because they had a promo package for it. Dickinson versus Edwards. Again, I think it's pretty clear that that Dickinson rather is going through.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah, they want, because he's the only Violence Unlimited guy in there. So, especially if they want to keep the Brody King Roosh thing going, it would make sense. And then Danhausen, I hate Danhausen versus Rhett Titus, and Danhausen's going to beat Rhett Titus. Rhett Titus is so good. He's one of those guys who spent so much time making other people look good that people forget how good he is.
You've spent a long time banging the Rhett Titus drum, to be fair.
Rhett Titus is good. His match with Flip Gordon earlier in the year was really good. And then you have Danhausen, who I fucking hate Danhausen. I despise. I don't find it funny. I don't find his shtick funny. I don't even know what his shtick is. He just sort of speaks in a funny voice and puts housing on the end of it. I can do that. Any old fucking idiot can do that. I don't care if he went on fucking Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien's not funny. He wrote a few good Simpsons episodes 20 years ago. That's his contribution to pop culture.
I think if he was more of a character and not a wrestler.
He's no, but there's no fucking character there. He just says housing, and he has a straight face, and he speaks in a funny voice. That's his character. And then he's popular because CM Punk likes him, Renee Young likes him, and Conan O'Brien likes him. That's it.
He's very evil, very nice.
No, he's not. He's neither. He's annoying. You know, I'm used to like the worst aspects of whatever being used to tar things with the wrong. Like, for example, I'm a DDT fan, so I'm used to people sharing GIFs and going, "Oh no, obviously DDT is bad," when clearly not. This is what people do with Ring of Honor and Danhausen. I hope Rhett Titus wins because I don't want Danhausen to be on a fucking main card. Also, he's currently seconded by PCO. Danhausen is like hypnotized PCO or something.
I can sort of see that dynamic working. To be fair.
No. Oh wait, it's not a hypnotized. PCO is a robot. Excuse me. He reprogrammed PCO.
What?
Well, PCO is a robot.
He's a Frankenstein. They're not the same thing.
They're basically the same thing.
You think Danhausen's taking that, do you?
Yeah, because he has more he unfortunately has more name recognition than Rhett Titus, and it's going to ruin the finals. And also, the thing with PCO is that I love him.
The thing about Rhett Titus is as well, you've got to remember, isn't he a tag champion?
He is a current tag champ, so yeah, so he's going to have a defense.
He'll probably have a defense at best in the world.
Unless he loses it before then. That's the one good thing about Ring of Honor right now is that you're not going to lose much. Like, you're not going to get many leaks because it's all just it's literally all in-house right now. Like, I think the only real outsider working there is Brian Zane, and he's going to be under an NDA.
I mean, to be fair, you know, you've just said about them losing potentially next, you know, they might lose it before then. The fucking main event of next week's show looks absolutely sick. Yeah,
it's that, and also they were against OGK last week, and they came surprisingly close to losing it in that match.
God.
So, and anyway, so shall we actually get on to the match between Flamita, well, demonic Flamita, and I came out and I'm like, is Flamita about to like give me a cigarette and force me to smoke it behind the bike sheds, listening to like My Chemical Romance?
Yeah, it was an interesting gimmick change.
Yeah, to Rey Horus. So, okay, there's actually a story going into this because Mexa Squad don't like each other anymore.
Well, Flamita doesn't like Bandido.
Yeah, or Rey Horus, apparently. So basically what happened at... there was a little seed of dissension. They lost the 6-man belt. They weren't fully clicking. And then at the pre-show of 90th anniversary, they lost to Shane Taylor Promotions.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rey Horus was like, I'm sick of it in fighting. We're having a freeway tonight. Not in the sexy way, but kind of in the sexy way. And so they had a freeway. Great match. Really, really good. Exactly what you'd expect from these three. Flamita and Bandido still don't get on. They had a match. They had a tag match against Foundation on episode 499, which they lost when Flamita turned on Rey Horus. No, wait, on Bandido, rather. And then Flamita and Bandido had a match. Flamita cheated to win, and now they're here. Rey Horus and Flamita are here in Survival of the Fittest. This is one of those cases where it fits the feud, but it's more like just naturally booked that way. Because if you were to seed Survival of the Fittest, this is probably how you'd seed it anyway. So, what did you think of the match?
Match was great. Started off a little bit slower than I thought it was going to, obviously, with it being two luchadors, and then just accelerated, which was great. It was exactly what I expected it to be towards the end. That finish, like the muscle buster into a gourd buster, looked great. I didn't think it needed the super kick afterwards, but even so, really, really, really good match. There was there was an absolutely savage springboard DDT. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So it sounds like Oslo, they were sort of feeling each other out. Horus isn't ready to sort of just be a dick to Flamita yet. And then Flamita sort of sucker punched him. It's like, right, fine, fucker. So there was a spear through the ropes.
Oh
about
my God.
What was it, like 2 minutes into this match?
It was literally 30 seconds in. It was... Mm-hmm. It just, like you said, they'd felt each other out, and then suddenly just bang. So Horus is on the apron, and Flamita just spears him through the ropes, and they both go outside. And you're just like, how the fuck has Flamita not landed on his head? That's mental.
Did you watch the promo package before this match?
I did, yes.
And what do you think? You know what I loved about that promo package was just Horus going, "Hey, you want to be." You want to flip out and be a weirdo now? Fucking exposing the business, Rey Horus.
I'll be honest, speaking of the promo package, Rey Horus, not confident on the mic at all, is he?
No, but to be fair, he's speaking
his second language, so obviously I'm not going to rag on him, but...
Because Flamita's still speaking...
Spanish.
And honestly, with the way Ring of Honor's set up, I don't really expect Flamita to... Because they're not really... There's great promos in there, but also you don't need it for back... Like, in UFC, they're not really... Which is what... This the sort of thing this is going for, like, their pre-fight interviews. Fighters who can't speak English aren't overly going to be expected to learn English. It's all results-based, so who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, so... While I've... goes for a springboards and then just leads it onto his head. Oh my fucking God. Ouch. And he was like sitting on the chair too. So he just sort of rose up and bang.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Absolutely disgusting. Had you seen much of either of these men before this match?
I'd seen one Rey Horus match, but I can't remember for the life of me where I saw it from. Flamita's completely new to me. Obviously, I know Bandido from his time in New Japan. So
you know, I love about Flamita. He was in 16, Super Strong Style 16 in Progress in like 2017, I think. And you know how the Progress crowd comes up with fucking chants for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, here he comes.
Love it. That's amazing.
Incredible, yeah. I really hope that chant comes back when we get crowds, but I don't think the standing Ring of Honor crowd is that creative.
No.
But yeah, there's not really there's nothing deeper to analyze in this match. Really, it kind of just fucked. What I will say, there was a bit too much dead air at points. They were like stopping to trash talk. It kind of wrecked the flow a little bit. But it's still really good. Still well worth going out of your way to check out. Still way too good for a random TV match.
I think both the matches were far too good for a random TV match, but...
Yeah, but the second one was more... They weren't like bumping hand, they were just kind of just being clever.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say about Josh Woods, but we'll get on to that. But here you have these two who are just sort of going like we're in the American Legion doing PWG. So, I don't know. Do you have any further thoughts on this match?
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was, apart from that initial sort of slow build up to the suicide spear, I thought it worked really, really well. I didn't particularly mind the stopping. I know you think it ruined the pace a little bit, but obviously, they're trying to build Flamita as this heel. They're trying to build, the tension between Flamita and Horus and, between the Mexis squad or Mexa Bloods or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So I didn't particularly mind it. The only I know it's a small thing, but I feel like that big move from Flamita, that muscle buster into a gourd buster, that should have been finished. I don't feel like the super kick was needed afterwards. It was a little bit weird. But otherwise, a really, really solid match. I look forward to seeing both of these men do more stuff on Ring of Honor TV. I'm a big fan of Flamita. A lot stockier. He's built more like Phoenix. So, like, a bit shorter, but a bit stockier, as opposed to like a Rey Horus, who's quite tall, quite slender.
Yeah, I think in terms of proportion, he's a bit closer to maybe Drago. Or Aerostar. I think Aerostar might be a better example.
Yeah, I can see that.
How tall is Demonic for me? He is 5'7". Wow, he's smaller than Garth.
I know. Who'd have thought?
Well, I didn't know that was possible. Yeah. So, what did you give it?
I gave it 3.5.
I gave it 3 3/4, so I ended up liking it more than you did.
There you go. It's a really, really good match. Like Chris said, you should go out of your way to check it out. In fact, this entire show was really, really good.
45 minutes. It's literally going to take you less time to watch this than you're going to spend watching a New Japan main event with entrances.
Exactly. And you could watch 3 episodes of this instead of watching Raw. So, just put that into context for you.
I try not to bring up WWE because it just brings out bitchy WWE fans. So, before we got into the next match, we had a video package. Did you watch this?
I did, yes.
Between Sledge and Brian Johnson. Now, I will say Sledge kind of just came off as... You hear a guy's called Sledge, and then he met those expectations.
Basically, this came off as a man called Sledge.
Yeah, like it's like if he was in a cutaway in an episode of Family Guy, he wouldn't seem out of place.
No, you can imagine, someone's got a mate, a mechanic called Sledge. Oh yeah, give it Sledge. Sledge will have a look at it.
Yeah, and he's the one who brings out the Coke of the pie.
Yeah, he's the one who's got the naked calendar on his wall.
He's the one who has that Pink Floyd photo. The one with all the album covers on the naked women.
Yes, he is.
That's in every fucking dorm room I've ever been in, and all 3 of my brothers have fucking had it at some point. And I'm like, you don't even like Pink Floyd. What the fuck are you doing?
Pink Floyd are absolutely majestic. They are incredible.
They're a band I think I like more than I like, if you get me.
They are good. I love them.
I appreciate them so much on a musical level, but I'm never going to just throw on a Pink Floyd song.
No, fair play.
Anyway, but Brian Johnson, his whole thing has been, I'm a dick and I don't like Danhausen. But, first of all, I can relate to the not liking Danhausen bit. Second of all, what a fucking promo.
This promo was tremendous. Like,
I've worked so many years to be seen as the best in the world.
I mean, I watched this 4-way at the 19th anniversary, and his chat got a little annoying during that match. So
in the match, he was really annoying, but like by the sounds of it, he's becoming more serious. Because think about it this way: in that match, he basically had to be a foil to Danhausen. Like, how else do you be funny versus Danhausen?
That's true. Yeah, but this was incredible. It was said with such intensity, but it wasn't just, people seem to mistake intensity for just yelling into the camera. And though Johnson built himself up.
Like when Samoa Joe's got a promo, it's my least favorite thing when he just shouts for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and I will see you at Sacred kind of thing.
But this was tremendous, and it really did. It made you realise not how bad Sledge's promo was, because it wasn't a bad promo by any stretch of the imagination.
Either Brian Johnson could be something, and it's amazing because Ring of Honor promos do this. Like they're so good at making you interested. Like, Dalton Castle had a storyline going on of I don't know where I fit in current Ring of Honor, and that was completely told through promos, and it was great. And it covers up when you're not very good at promo. Like, Sledge's promo would be offensively bad on something like Dynamite or NXT or Raw, because they're not pre-taped, they're, like, live. So you can't cut to something else to mask when they're fucking up. But here, Sledge is very clearly just an okay promo. And even, like, Rey Horus before. Like, just so you don't think I'm bagging on Sledge, because Rey Horus would have the same problem.
Yeah, I agree.
But the way Ring of Honor presents it, it doesn't really matter if they can't talk, because they're not performers, they're fighters.
I loved I love the whole context of Johnson's promo. I mean, you got Sledge talking about, how Brian Johnson was disrespecting his own father, yet he wanted just one more second with his own father. You've got Johnson talking about Sledge's addiction.
I like how Sledge is like, I don't think Brian Johnson's a bad guy, but I think he's a jackass.
But yeah, Johnson here was tremendous. Real, and I don't know if you felt this way or if it was just me, but I got real Kevin Steen vibes from this promo.
Kind of, but not in the same context.
No, I got that intensity that Kevin Steen used to have.
Yeah. I can see that. Did it make you interested in watching the match?
No, I probably will watch it. This is the one that's on Ring of Honor week by week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny because before now, like one of the best places for promos was NWA. The problem is that's not like a wrestling league. That's just sort of like a hipster promotion for hipsters and Garth.
Hipster promotion for hipsters.
Yeah, no, it's for people who prefer aesthetic over content.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a good non-wrestling comparison. It's the Rogue One of if wrestling was Star Wars films, NWA would be Rogue One.
Okay.
Like, tell me one character from Rogue One. Darth Vader doesn't count. Nor does Leia. Nor does Tarkin. No one from other Star Wars media. Only like original characters for Rogue One, and you can't use actors' names.
Hack.
You sounded so desperate there.
I was like, is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I mean? Like, the reason people remember Rogue One is because of the cool space battles and Darth Vader killing everyone.
Characters.
It's like, ooh, I clapped.
Rogue
I clapped when I saw Darth Vader. No, you fucker. None of your answers count now.
Jin. Jin is Cassian. That's who I was thinking of, because that sounds like Pac. Fucking hell, Mads Mikkelsen was in that film. I've seen that film 3 times. How have I forgotten Mads Mikkelsen's in it?
Because it's about, and like, honestly, Rogue One is a film that you only think is good because the last third is good.
You're incorrect.
But you literally couldn't name any of the characters, and you've seen it 3 times.
Doesn't matter. Still a very, very good film.
I mean, it's a very cool film.
It's a very good film, Chris. Move on.
Last Jedi is still the best Star Wars film. Anyway, you remember all the characters' names from Last Jedi? Even Rose, who no one seems to like.
Who?
Rose.
Who?
You know who Rose is.
I don't know who Rose is.
You definitely know who Rose is.
I don't know who Rose is.
You definitely know who Rose is. Garth bitches about Rose enough for you to know who Rose is. So, yeah, we're onto our main event after only 2 matches. What a weird thing. It's weird because I hear a lot of people go, I miss the days where you only had limited matches on TV. Ring of Honor had your back, buddy.
This hour flew by, to be fair. I mean, it's 50 minutes. It's probably less with the amount of Ric Flair commercials that you get.
Yeah, did you see the other wrestler in the Ric Flair commercials?
I did. Eli Drake.
LA Knight. Probably the best work of his career because he is shit.
Good on the mic, not all that good in the ring.
He's fine in the ring. He's sort of he's a Matt Taven. He's solid. He's not going to get your loins a burning.
Okay.
Like, I know. Like, you see Rey Horus wrestle and you can get pregnant just from watching it. I know Matt Taven and Eli Drake aren't going to give you the same results. Anyway, we have a Pure Rules match. Now, I said I would explain how Pure Rules work, and now I will. So, Pure Rules, in essence, is a way to make everything more honourable. You only get 3 rope breaks. Once they're gone, the ropes are in play for your opponent to use when you're trapped in the ropes. You get closed fist punches are forbidden. You get used to be docked a rope break if you threw a closed fist punch. Now you get a warning, and then again you're disqualified. And no one's allowed to interfere. Otherwise, they are immediately terminated from Ring of Honor, which could be interesting for Violence Unlimited since Deppin isn't technically signed. So they could just have people. You could just have Deppin interfere. That could be funny. And I'm forgetting something. Oh, there's a strict 20 count on the outside.
Close fists?
I've mentioned close fists.
Oh, did you mention close fists? Sorry. I was thinking of something else.
Keep up, Goodwin. And yeah, that's basically. Also, the code of honor has to be respected. So, Pure Rules is great. I love it. It adds so much drama to what would normally be a boring TV match. Because everyone plays within Pure Rules differently. We'll talk about how these two play within Pure Rules in a second. But yeah, everyone, for example, everyone in the Foundation, so Titus, Williams, Lethal, and Gresham, they work very quickly to try and make people burn their rope breaks. So that, because if a Pure Rules match goes to a time limit, it goes to a judge's decision. Which actually is fucking great. Because I don't watch a ton of MMA. Like, whenever I mention MMA, I try and specify that I am the most casual of casual MMA fans. Like, and by that I mean sometimes on a Sunday, if there hasn't been a big wrestling match on the Saturday, I'll watch whatever UFC card is on.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my MMA fandom. I can't pretend to be a... But what I love when an MMA match goes to a decision is that, like, it's so drama-filled. You're thinking back to the match. If it's been a close fight, you're thinking back thinking, oh, so what happened? Like, what would the judges be looking at? Oh my God, is this going to mean something? Like, it's such palpable drama, and that I'm surprised that wrestling hasn't taken it on. AEW pretended they were going to take it on, and then were cowards and didn't make Chris Jericho go an hour.
Okay.
But yeah, because remember, that was weird at Full Gear, wasn't it? Where we just had Great Muta at ringside.
Yeah, random guests at ringside to be the judges that weren't used.
And they sometimes specify who the judges are, like, even though they're not in the building, for like, oh yeah, Simi Sakai judging. It's like, what?
Oh my God, the moment Danhausen is actually fucking, reffing? Judging.
That'd be awful. It's like, I give him 10,000. See, Danhausen humans, easy. He sucks. Fuck him. And some people would bend, like Flip Gordon would bend the rules of Pure Rules to the breaking point. Like, he'd always throw a close fist punch. Always. He would try and get... So, yeah, Pure Rules can sound restrictive, but really it just creates a new way to... Like, the best example I think of this is, weirdly, Rhett Titus versus Flip Gordon from earlier in the year. On the first, like, new Ring of Honor TV of the year. Because 3 minutes before the end, Rhett Titus had forced Flip Gordon to use all his rope breaks. So, if it went to a referee's decision, because of that, it's going to go towards Titus. So Flip has to win because he's not a submission wrestler. He's not gonna make Titus burn his rope breaks. So, Flip, with like a minute to go, throws a Hail Mary punch, burning a warning, hitting his finisher for the win. I thought that was great. I thought that added so much drama to the match, which you wouldn't have got under any other rule set. And that's the thing with Pure... Sometimes it just plays out like a normal wrestling match, because that's unavoidable, but sometimes you get very interesting ways of people manipulating the meta. It's very interesting, which you kind of got here. Before I get into that, what did you... the story behind this particular match, these two were in two guys, one tag. You know, two guys, 6 feet apart in a tag because not gay. And so that was a pre-lockdown thing, and then when lockdown came back, Woods was in the Pure Tournament and said to Young, I'm going to go for this singles thing. And that sort of translated to him being in a feud with Dalton Castle all year. And then Silas comes back and goes, hey man, get the team back together. And he's like, nah man, I'm good. And then so Silas was like, fine, I'll be your second, I'll be your coach, whatever. Turns on him at 19th anniversary, and then they had a match on TV a few weeks ago where Silas used the ropes to cheat to win, and that's how they're here.
Right.
And you probably got all that from the video package, to be fair.
Yeah, to be honest, the Ring of Honor packages have been decent at telling the stories of the matches going in. And you felt the emotion, especially on the part of Josh Woods throughout this match. So it was good that the two wrestlers managed to bring that in. It's a special time limit as well, this one.
Yeah, it's normally 15 minutes for a non-title Pure Rules match. They went 30 because it's a grudge match. What do you think of Silas's look? Because I've been watching Silas Young for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Years and years and years. Every time I see him, I just think 70s Spawn. Like, he's about to fix your plumbing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he looks like a mixture of Oliver Peck from Ink Masters and that guy who wears a string vest and lives in his paddling pool in the front garden.
And, yeah, it's such a weird... Look, but also, I kind of like his whole, like, last real man thing, and I like how that's always been a heel thing.
Yeah.
He had a feud with Dalton Castle a few years ago. And he was like, I'm going to win. And Dalton Castle put his boys on the line.
I remember you talking about this, yes.
He put his boys on the line, and then Silas wanted to win the boys to turn them into men. And they had to know what that phrasing sounded like. Like, have you all ever seen Pulp Fiction? So he wins the boys. There's these vignettes on TV for weeks of him training the boys. The boys are coming out wearing, like, plaid. Like, looking like fucking lumberjacks. And then, I think it was that final battle, Dalton Castle wins them back by shouting, "They're my boys!"
Oh, God.
It's one of my favourite Ring of Honor feuds ever. It cemented Dalton Castle as one of my favourites. But here, so, what do you think of Josh Woods' look, by the way? To me, he always comes off as, like, very generic. Like, if you were to make a generic UFC fighter in, like, UFC 3 or whatever, it would look like Josh Woods.
He weirdly looks more generic now he's shaved his head.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, UF Chris, that's all I'm saying.
UF Chris with his massive fucking Swede.
They don't let you change the size of the head.
Mate, just own the fact that your UFC creator fighter is fucking shit.
My UFC creator character could beat your UFC creator character.
Okay.
You don't have a UFC creator character.
There's a reason for that.
What's the reason, Robert?
Because mine would be better than yours, and I don't want to embarrass you.
Tell you what, bitch, Fire Pro, let's do this.
Let's fucking do this!
Yeah, so... Yeah, so, like, in terms of, like, you see what I mean? Like, to a lot of people, this is, like, I brought into the feud, so I'm completely down for this match, but, like, for someone of you who hasn't been following the feud, this seems like a sort of boring TV match. How much did Pure Rules add to this for you?
It's matches like this, and I'm not going to spend, the entire podcast spaffing off about how good the Pure Rules are, but
yeah, that's just going to be this whole podcast.
This match in particular, they played on the emotion really, really, really well. Like, Silas Young knew that he was never going to beat Josh Woods in a pure wrestling match, and therefore played on the emotion of Josh Woods to, get him to almost lose the match for himself. Like, there's that moment where Silas Young basically keeps using the closed fist whenever the ref's back is turned, and eventually Josh just can't take it anymore and fucking lamps Silas Young in the mush. But the referee sees it and he ends up losing. He ends up getting the warning for the closed fist. And I thought that play on the emotion was really, really good. One thing I will say about Silas Young, some of his counters, Josh Woods' counters were tremendous. Some of the ways that he got into pinfalls, the way he got into the Coquina clutch at one point was really, really inventive. But Silas Young is, 162. And
he's only 40.
He wrestled really, really well. He's technically very, very, very sound. Any man that can do a headstand on a ring post gets the thumbs up from me.
Into a split leg, into a moonsault, which he had to land.
Yeah, which he didn't land, but landed on his feet, which is, it's never not going to be impressive. So in answer to your question, I sort of delved off a little bit there, but the Pure Rules certainly added a lot for me, especially as Silas Young burnt through
his rope breaks,
all of his... There was one moment, and then I'll let you carry on. There was one moment as Silas Young sacrificed a rope break while they were on the outside so that he could DDT Josh Woods on the apron. So he was holding onto the rope. They were both on the apron. And Silas Young actually said, you need to give me, I'm using the ropes. So the ref told him to break and took off one of Silas Young's rope breaks. But in the interim, and whilst Josh Woods was letting go of the hold, Silas Young wraps him up, DDT on the apron. I thought that was fucking great. That is such good heel work. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's one thing about Pure Rules. You need to look into how people use their rope breaks. Like, for example, someone like Flip Gordon or Dak Draper, who are just normal wrestlers coming into this new rule set. They just burn through them on instinct. Like, you're in a hold, you go for the ropes.
Yeah.
So, like, they burned it through stupidity. The people in the foundation, like Gresham and Lethal and Tyus and William Mobas, or the foundation. Anyway, the foundation, if they're in a hold, they will try every possible means to get out of that hold before they go for a rope break. They're very conservative with using their rope breaks.
Yeah.
Silas Young uses rope breaks to create distance, which I find that's a very interesting take on Pure Rules, because you have to break it. Like, there was a point where he did, because the only time he went for the ropes when he was in a submission was when he was tapping out.
It pays testament to the wrestler's ingenuity in the fact that from, a relatively simple set of rules, we get such different takes on it. Gresham interprets them completely different to Flip Gordon, who takes them in a completely different way to Silas Young. And I think that's what makes the division so unique.
Mm-hmm. And in the case of Silas, I've not really seen that before, using the ropes purely. Like, he didn't use them to escape holds, use them to create distance, to create openings. Like, I imagine if Jay White was in Pure Rules, that's how he'd play it.
Absolutely. And can I just point out as well, because I don't think we've mentioned this, Caprice Coleman and Ian Riccoboni did an absolutely fucking stellar job of commentary, especially during this match.
They're probably the best English commentary team in the world right now.
Just as I was starting to watch, or, around that time, was when Caprice Coleman started doing commentary, and I didn't like him. I don't know what it was. I can't remember exactly.
I used to hate the way he shouted, "Oh my God." He was like, "Oh my God."
I think it was something stupid like that, but my God, like, him and Ian were fantastic. Really, really good commentary team. Really, really sort of helped the match.
Caprice actually talks like he's wrestled for as long as he has.
Yeah, absolutely. He brings something completely different to Ian Riccoboni.
When Rocky does commentary, he doesn't bring any of that knowledge that he has.
Well, I said to you when we were talking about the 19th anniversary show, you were like talking about Rocky Romero on commentary. I was like, I didn't even notice he was on commentary until about halfway through the match.
Yeah, he kind of just I think that's problem because he's next to Kevin Kelly, who's not a good play-by-play guy to begin with. So, like, he's not really got to grow, whereas Caprice has been next to Ian, who is really good.
A really, really good play-by-play guy. And really good.
There's other guys who go into commentary, like Kenny King's currently suspended in storyline, so he's been turning up in commentary.
Okay.
Brian Zane sometimes does commentary, not on TV. I think he does it on the YouTube shows. If there's a women's match, there's a decent chance Maria Canales will be on commentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole presenting team for Ring of Honor does a really good job, and there's not a weak even down to the ring announcer. He's really good. Although, it's funny. Who's surprisingly over in Ring of Honor is Todd Sinclair, the referee. When I was when I went to a Ring of Honor show in Edinburgh, and Todd Sinclair comes out, and someone's just like, "Yes, Todd!
We love you, Todd!"
Yeah, and it scared the shit out of him. And it's also funny because Progress referee, I forgot his name now, but he used to get booed a lot. So people came out, Progress fans started booing him because they just Ring of Honor just hired UK referees. But yeah, the thing is with that, it's a very, very, very solid wrestling match interspersed with things you can only do in Pure Rules, like the rope break stuff, like the closed fist stuff. Silas Young is one of those wrestlers who we put him over. Like, it's not like Josh Woods didn't do great here, but Silas Young did so much to make Josh look as good as he did. Like, Silas Young's one of those people who spent so many years making everyone else look good. Like, he's the guy who got Dalton Castle over. He was one of Kevin Steen's last Ring of Honor opponents.
He's been going for years as well. He just seems to have just kept going.
Yeah, and he's one of the first guys Joe Hendry went against when he went into Ring of Honor. He's kind of like the Dolph Ziggler, but better. And you look at some of his stuff, like he had his stuff with Jay Lethal in 2017 was great. I got to see the I believe it was the culmination of that feud in Edinburgh, and that was fucking incredible. He had a really good match against Aries as well. He's just so good. He's knows how to place himself, and he's going to be one of those Ring of Honor lifers because no one else is really going to take him. But he's he is too good to not have a massive fan base.
Maybe we should start that. Maybe we should fly that Silas Young flag.
So, Silas Young real men.
We are the last real men.
Where else did he he's wrestled? I had no clue he wrestled in Defiant. He wrestled Delirious in Defiant. What a random fucking match.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, he hasn't wrestled for PC. Oh, he has wrestled for PCW.
Of course, he's wrestled for PCW.
He's had 3 matches in PCW. 4. He's had 4 matches, but they're all PCW/Ring of Honor show. So he wrestled Doug Williams. He was in a 6-man with Dalton Castle, Ashton Smith, Cedric Alexander, Charlie Garrett, Martin Kirby, and stuff. These are stacked matches. He went for the PCW title against Dave Mastiff and then lost to Dalton Castle. I'm so glad he's wrestled the Preston City Wrestling. Josh Woods, believe it or not, is a student of WWE. Like, he was a performance center guy.
I can see that. I can see him getting over in the WWE. He's got that build, hasn't he?
Well, that's where he started. He was there for a couple of years, and then he left, and he started building a name for himself in the Indies before going to Ring of Honor. And he works really well in Ring of Honor. So
I thought we talked about Silas Young and about how well he facilitated Josh Woods, and he did, and he needs proper props for that. But I thought Josh Woods was really good here. They fucking rolled the dice off the top rope and then again into the fucking corner. They were brutal.
Yeah, he played his role as sort of plucky babyface extremely well here.
Extremely well, but especially initially those mat wrestling exchanges, those chain wrestling exchanges, Josh Woods looked phenomenal.
Yeah, again, he looks like a cage fighter coming into. Does he have an MMA record? I doubt it. Josh Woods, wrestler. Josh Woods, Nia Jax comes up, so I assume he dated or something. No, he doesn't seem to have a pro fight thing, but there's nothing here about it. Oh well. So yeah, what did you? So overall, just sum up your thoughts on this match.
Overall, I thought the Pure Rules, like you said, stopped it from just being your stereotypical, quite boring main event. You know, you'd say to someone, the main event of Ring of Honor TV this week is Josh Woods versus Silas Young. You're like, nah, but the Pure Rules certainly added to it. I thought Silas Young was tremendous here. I thought the way that Josh Woods was able to come up with completely unique counters to all of these, weird and wonderful holds was fantastic. There was a moment where Silas Young managed to transition out of a head scissors into a Boston Crab, which was fucking lunacy. But yeah, overall, a thoroughly enjoyable match and a really good showcase of the Pure Rules rule set.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the best This is probably the best example of using Pure Rules as a heel on Silas Young's part, which is why I've put him over so hard. But again, in Pure Rules, it's all down to because it's amazing how you can make Pure Rules fit your character.
That's what I mean.
So yeah, it's just incredible. What did you give it?
I gave it 3 3/4.
I give it 4 1/4.
There we go. See, I'm. You've made me feel self-conscious about how well I was like rating things.
No, I don't think
you give me shit, Chris, and it hurts.
It's very easy. I think for me, it's very easy to get a high mark from me, but it's very hard to get like a tip-top mark.
Yeah,
I counted the other day. I think I've given out overall like 12, 15. I think it's between like 12 and 15 matches overall. I've given 4.5 plus. Which, when you consider how much fucking wrestling I watch,
that's not bad, is it? Really?
Yeah. And yeah, it's just. Also, the reason I gave you shit is because you gave Okada versus Ospreay 5 stars, and then you gave me shit for only giving it 4. Like, that's a bad score.
It's a bad score.
It's not a bad 4 stars. It's not a bad score.
Anyway.
If something I ever made was given an 8 out of 10, I'd be fucking chuffed. Anyway, so just to wrap off, I'm just gonna say what's happening on Ring of Honor in the next week. There's nothing here about what's happening on the women's show, but on week by week we have Sludge versus Brian Johnson, which we talked about during the main show, and I'm pretty sure that Johnson's going to go through there.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
He'll probably go through and do stupid shit with Danhausen.
Yeah.
And then we have on Ring of Honor Wrestling 508, we have Jack Draper versus Eli Isom in Survival of the Fittest, and that's going to be very interesting. The two really, I believe it was a match these two had that led to Dalton Castle coming out and kicking one of them in the balls. So 2 ways to see this going. Dalton's one of these guys are going to go through, and then Dalton's going to come out, and that's going to be a match for best in the world. Because I'm pretty sure it was the match last time that these two had where Dalton Castle came out and kicked both of them in the balls. And he came out to and you know how he used to come out to I Want It All by Queen? He came out to fucking Radio Gaga. So Dalton just switched to a different era of Queen.
Brilliant.
By which I mean like 2 years before. And World Tag Title Pure Rules match between Rex Harris and Tracy Williams versus Dragon and Kenny King. Now, this is very interesting because the match where Lee and King won the titles earlier in the year was a Pure Rules match, and they cheated. Oh boy, did they cheat. Kenny King snuck a big closed fist behind the ref.
Bastards.
I know. It's the return of Dragon Lee. I've missed him so much. I love him. He's probably my favourite in the whole Ring of Honor, and then we have the Foundation, who are just fabulous. And it's Pure Rules. Pure Rules tag is something that hasn't really been. We haven't seen the full potential of it, but I think we might in this match, and
Absolutely.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, so am I.
Tracy Williams is great in the Pure Rules. Anyway. What are you looking forward to for next week, Ben?
Definitely the main event. Main event looks fantastic.
That's going to be so good. I look forward to Dalton Castle possibly kicking people in the balls. I hope it happens. So that's it for the Purespective. I keep on saying Purespective. And yeah, that's basically it. If you want to catch us, you can go to the PodMania site. You can catch us on all good podcasting platforms, including iHeart. Are we still on iHeartRadio?
We are.
Oh, lovely. Does that little thing tell you how many you get on iHeartRadio?
I don't know. I haven't checked.
That's a shame. You can also catch us on other podcasts. We're on PodMania, our flagship podcast where we just watch shit. And then we have the Stardom cast where I mostly complained about Stardom, and Rob's like, no, it's not all bad. And then it turns out it was all bad. We both have individual projects. Rob is torturing himself with Nitro and Raw over on the website. I am creating various contents on YouTube. I just released a video about the best of wrestling in February 2000, and my next video is probably about hidden gems of 2021. So keep an eye out for that. We are also on social media at, I don't know, you're the one who runs that Twitter. What's our Twitter?
At Purespective Pod.
At Purespective Pod. Also at PodMania. You can find Rob at
Real Rob Godwin.
You can find me at Chris Loves Puro. Subscribe to Honor Club. Dental Plan. We'll see you next week. Regina Phalanges.